quality music was there. People seemed to like the variety of different music we had, and we also had good food. And so those are three important ingredients, plus one chainsaw artist that was just incredible. Young lady that did a great job. So there was a lot of positives that we got out. We are going to continue as a track, and so we thought, how could we support that? So we would looking at maybe grant writing opportunities, look into the Ford Family Foundation. Ford's been up here with us for a lot of things, and working very well with us. But looking through that grant process, also, how can we promote this as a recurring event? The track is going to do this every solstice. That's going to be that date, because the solstice for the last 1,000 years has been on that date. So we didn't see any reason to change that. And as I shared with somebody there the day it was raining on Saturday, just like the cats and dogs, do you think that it hasn't rained on a solstice somewhere already? So we're going to go ahead with that. So we'll begin an earlier planning process, maybe in October, instead of waiting a little bit longer than what we did. And we're going to do it ourselves, in-house, more so than promoting. We learned from the gal we hired. She did a great job in a lot of aspects, but there was a lot of over-planning that didn't work. So we think we can handle that. I thought we might also research other events around the solstice, around the country. What do other people around the country do as far as solstice events? Maybe we could pick up on something there. And then maybe as an educational component, find out what is the history of solstice events. Maybe share that out. Involve our students and our kids in some aspect. Maybe we could bring in some of the culture aspects with the indigenous tribes, and drumming maybe, for instance, for the entertainment. If you haven't been around a drumming event, indigenous, it's awesome. I've been around a couple of them, and it's awesome. I'll just say it. And then also, this one might hit home with Shaw, but we thought maybe bring in Dark Sky, and maybe we could have a Dark Sky event, one of those evenings where we actually have some astronomers drop in, share out, the value of a dark sky, number one, to a community, and also get an opportunity to teach kids how to read the stars. And I think I'd be the first one there, because I don't know how to read stars. I can find the Milky Way and the moon when it's up. Other than that, I'm pretty sorry. And the North Star. I can do the North Star. But do it something like that. So yeah, that's where we're at.
We struggle. We're the economic development folk. And so we've got one that we didn't even talk about, but it's already in progress. So I never got to. I never got to speak of that. Anyway, so for economic development, where we sort of landed was that the McKenzie River needs branding, advertising, and promotion. Now, we've had signs, right? We've got our little Berg signs up. We've had them up for years. And we have our welcome signs at either end. But the McKenzie River Valley really doesn't have a brand. And so we think that overarching branding effort that would include all the aspects of the valley is what's going to be key to drawing people to the area, because they're really going to see what we've got. And that's going to include all three groups. So that would be actually sort of the primary project that we would consider. And we think it's going to take quite a bit of money to do that. We're anticipating $100,000 for real serious stuff.
Good investment.
Pardon?
Good investment.
Yeah, I think it's the best investment that we could make.
So how do you plan to come up with a grant?
I think what you do is you hire somebody and they come up with some concepts.
We might already have one. So I've just moved back home, and I've been,
here off and on over the years, and, you know, with the fire in 2020, what everybody wanted was the Mackenzie Strong March. And like even now, when we're taking folks up and down the river, they're asking, where can we get the Mackenzie Strong t-shirts? Where can we get the hat or the sticker? And Mackenzie Strong is something that each of our little communities along the way can get on board with. It's something that could potentially be a way of social accountability, like for small business owners, homeowners, what are you doing to be Mackenzie Strong? You know, something like that. It doesn't have to be that exactly, but I think there might be something to already build on.
Well, I think that's a great concept for getting cohesion among the folk, but it wouldn't attract me to come to the area. Why would I come to that?
But it could be built into a brand.
Yeah.
It could be built into that. So I think that's a.
Yeah, but I think that the notion makes sense. You know, that threading us all together that way. So that's one big project. So the second project was the Mackenzie Discovery Center, of course, and launching, where did we land on this?
We have several, Julie. I was going
We are, as everybody knows here, we're shovel ready. We already have shovels in the ground, and we're fundraising. There's all kinds of projects, and we can come up with a list of things here. Either looking at our themes, our storylines. We could take one of those. We could take an OMSI exhibit to fund, or we talked about funding we will have a community plaza covered area, and that might be a good thing to fund for the community so that we can use that, other groups can use that too. So,
after hours. No, maybe.
yeah, we have to figure that out.
Yeah.
So, and then the third concept that we came up with, and it's something that's actually already happened. It was, I can tell you unabashedly, it was not a huge success. For the same reason that most things up here don't succeed, because everybody isn't rowing the boat together. But it's called Marriage on the Mackenzie, and it was birthed from me being at a wedding show, advertising MySpace. And I realized very quickly that MySpace is the perfect place for a 77-person wedding. Lots of brides want something else. So they want the 150-person wedding, or they want the barn, or they want the this and that. We've got, in this valley, we have all of those venues. They already exist. They already are doing business. So my proposal last year was, let's just take that and have one day, we did it on 2 days actually, where a prospective bride and groom could come up the whole river and hit every single one of our venues. There were 8 venues that signed up to do it. 2, us, and 1 other venue were serious about it. The others just were sort of there and said, yeah, you can tour around if you want. You know, they didn't do anything extra. So I'm going to repeat that again this year, only with very clear bars of where you have to be. The branding is already done. So we need, I went to the chamber and got the okay from the tourism people to use some tourism dollars that already exist to do signage, because part of it was just getting road signage so that people knew we're down here, they're over there, and the same brand all the way along. So that is called Marriage on the Mackenzie, and it would be done twice a year, in the fall and in the spring. And the goal of it would be is to book weddings that would also book the guides, would come to the discoveries, and when people come here for a wedding, a destination wedding, they've got 2 days, 3 days to kill. So it puts heads in beds in the lodges, and so weddings could be a big economic driver in our area. So that's called marriage on the Mackenzie. Yes?
Make sure you include those that are trying to elope. Because that's, you know, if you had several, they could be right ahead of the shotgun, you know, and still
There you go.
make it work.
We could close the gate behind them.
There you go.
And we had a fourth one that we didn't have a sheet of paper, but we talked about a lot. And that is agritourism, so that we would, there's lots and lots of people that grow things, make things, all of that up here. And we really couldn't, we didn't have enough to really focus in on it and come up with a real strategy for it. But we feel like there's so much of that in this valley that if we can get people together and provide some structure and provide a place, there, we talked about lots of different places it could be. Kind of like farmer's market, but even expanding from that, so.
Maybe a maker's market?
Yeah.
A maker's market. Pardon? Oh, maker's mark. Maker's mark. I gave that. Okay, this group.
Feel free to start. So 2006 was a really significant year for a lot of reasons up here, but one of the reasons was that Don Hill and Greg Tappan, who were well-known McKinsey Bolt builders, both became very ill and both left the community. And the result was there was no skill left in this country that could build a McKinsey drift boat. And I called old friend Dave Helfrich and said, Dave, this isn't acceptable. We can't let this happen. To lose the skill and knowledge that resulted in this marvelous boat that is celebrated throughout the world. And there's no skill left. And so Dave said, yeah, we ought to do something about that. And I talked to old friend Ken Engelman and guy Steve Schaefer and said, we ought to do something about this. And God bless Ken for keeping the old hatchery viable and also reminding folks that Keith Steele and his crew, Steve Schaefer and his sons Bob and Stan and Steve, have probably built 250 drift boats in the garage there at the old hatchery. So anyway, to cut through the story, in 2007, Ken and I and Dave and Steve made a presentation to the Lane County Parks Advisory Board for the McKenzie River Museum. And that's what we called it in those days. But the vision was pretty simple, that we would have a place where we would celebrate the river, its origins, its hydrology, geology, the magic that makes that landscape so marvelous, and the reason we're here in this room today, the marvelous river that brings us all together, the boats and the guides, and the iconic spring Chinook and bull trout that are listed. So to celebrate all three of those things in the Discovery Center now. And so we're plugging away 17 years later. And as Shirley said, we're actually, if you've been by, you have all been by, and you've seen the last week, those big machines down there moving dirt. So it's happening. The licenses, as Shirley said, are in hand, and pretty good chunk of money that we can spend. We need some more, but it's going to happen. And Dave would be happy, and so would Keith and main sign of success is a full parking lot with lots of yellow buses. And that's our goal. So it's wonderful to be here today and share those dreams with you.
Okay, ice cream cone, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So, again, just to revisit, our table is outdoor and recreation. And so the project that I'm sharing, or we discussed at our table, actually is starting to baby step to a bit of a reality. Is the community of Blue River, which is a lot of our focus. I represent McKenzie Community Land Trust. And the community of Blue River has a vision to be a more pedestrian-friendly community. And part of that goal is having a pedestrian pedal path connecting downtown Blue River to the school by way of Three Sisters Meadow, the track, and the log pond and on around. And it was part of a community listening session that we hosted early last year that was focused on the Three Sisters Meadow, the 16 acres that the Seneca Jones sisters donated to the community after the fire for revitalization. This path will go through that 16 acres, and on that area behind the track and on the edge of Three Sisters is up above the highway, even though it's parallel, it's up above on this bench, and you can see the river, and it is spectacular. And I'm told by Mr. Richardson there that, pre-fire, there were beautiful trees there, which are not there anymore, which created this incredible view. So this vision for a paved path connecting downtown to the school would not only create more safe ways to school for kids going to school on their bikes or walking, but then also the amazing vision, and it's already happening at the track, for all the community events. They're already hosting international meets, including all the high school and school track meets, but there's just so much economic opportunity at the track, and connecting people from the track that are coming for an event, and then they can walk down the path, to Melanie's store and support the businesses as we're trying to rebuild that main street. There's just so many pieces, and I'm excited to share that McKenzie Community Land Trust, we did receive a $200,000 grant for a feasibility study for this path from OSU, and so we're just going to be beginning some of the exploration on that. But of course, a path like this, which is almost 2 miles, would be, I don't know, 1.5 million, maybe more. And but we have some incredible headway, right, Cliff?
We do.
And I'm sure you could, what did I miss?
Well, a lot, but no, you hit it, I'm just teasing you. No, it's an incredible project that I think would, like she said, it'd be a safe way for not only just kids walking or such that, but people with pushing baby strollers, for instance, if they wanted to just get an IV.
Horse with a cart selling eggs?
I will say this.
Pony cart.
I was over there one time when the smoke was deep in the valley, and it was early in the morning, about sunrise, and I was over there, and the McKenzie turned red with the smoke in the sun. It was amazing. It looked like it was absolutely on fire. It was one of the most beautiful things I've seen. I've grown up here on the McKenzie. Now, I'm not hoping for smoke in the valley, don't get me wrong, but it is a good view. It is a good view of the McKenzie.
So 2 quick things to add on that. Beyond the paved path is also the track would love to see a chipped path, kind of like Priest Trail in town, to have a chipped path parallel for all the runners, and which would be incredible, and as well as a kiosk along the way that talk about the history of Blue River, history of the McKenzie River, the Chinook salmon, the history of the Holiday Farm Fire, and other things that could be, for visitors that come and learn about the community as well on this 1.5 2 mile path. So we've got some good momentum.
It's a good place to throw rocks at the cars, by the way.
And McKenzie Community Land Trust, we can hold trail easements on private property. So some of it it's unknown if it will be on ODOT property or if it needs to be a little bit on the edge of private property. And if it does, MCLT can hold trail easements on private property. So that's why we're involved as well. So it's something we can help with.
Ours is our third project at our table, which is labeled Dark Sky Initiative. Big surprise. And the Mackenzie River corridor meets the criteria for and sustains compliance with designation as a dark sky certified zone would be our goal. That we would label ourselves in a sense a semi-marketing of the valley as a dark sky corridor. And that would entail eventually a valley-wide lighting ordinance, which would go from Clear Lake, the whole entire Mackenzie River Valley, which would focus on dark sky certified streetlights and an educational process where business owners and others would work to create fully shielded lights to cut down on light pollution and night sky pollution, so we could advertise and bring people to the Mackenzie River corridor associated with sisters and with all of the ecotourism dollars that are pouring into Central Oregon right now. We had a huge conference about dark sky tourism, and it's funded with, I don't know how much money, but a lot of money. So people are coming from all over the world to Oregon because we have the largest dark sky sanctuary in the United States here in Southern Oregon. So was like, let's get on the bandwagon and include the Mackenzie River Valley as part of that. We would be providing a lighting inventory and assessment of the entire corridor. We've done that for the river, but should the entire corridor choose to do it, then we would work on doing inventory for everyone. And again, you would include dark sky activities, like we were talking about the solstice thing, having river guides do night guides, Clear Lake, canoeing in the lake in the dark, keeps people, just like a wedding, it keeps people over an extra night, extends the tourism, so that's it. You're it. Say yes.
Okay, I'll take it.
Oh, we also have an idea about, we'd like to make a little movie called Return of the Cougar. Which we would play at a commercial property where the cougar room used to be.
That might be a bad table for our business. Try to.
So with that, I'll just make a quick announcement.
We would interview you.
I had some embarrassing moments at the Cougar Room. Is that what you want to hear about? No, that's one of the next weekend. There's going to be a memorial service for. Let's see if I can get it here. Not next weekend either. I take that back. But Dave Aaliyah, who grew up here, and his folks, Dave Aaliyah, his folks were the ones that owned the Cougar Room. Louis and Laverne, I think, or something, yeah. And so Dave cooked there for many, many years at the Cougar Room and whatnot. He passed away recently. He was graduate of McKenzie High School. I think he was 77. And so at 1 o'clock at the UMCC, if anybody that wants to go and celebrate the life of Dave Aaliyah. And Bernadette, who used to cook at school, and his sister is his sister and such that, Bernadette Fletcher and such will be there. So anyway, just an announcement. 1 o'clock at the UMCC on August, get my glasses, August 16th.
David Louis' son.
He was,
Yeah.
yeah, he was.
Okay, so where do we go from here? You can contact Cliff or Jerry or myself. We're the coordinating committee for the Mackenzie Main Street project, which comes under the umbrella of the Mackenzie River Chamber of Commerce. We'll put together a report from all of these proposals, and we don't have another meeting scheduled, but I'm sure there will be one coming up. And we'll review what we put together and ask you again to participate in the report that we present to Oregon State Parks Department. This was good. Good stuff, folks. I really appreciate it. Glad that all of you showed up today.
Are you, I can talk, other things, please.
Okay.
I just had a question. Are you going to, is part of the step to actually file for this application in the fall?
Yes, yes.
So application and funding?
The application will be to be designated as a recognized regional Mackenzie Main Street area with a request for specific funding. Up to, according to what's done in the past, $400,000.
Okay, perfect.
And thank all of you for helping put this together. Also, today, you know, you've got these raffle tickets over here. We have 5 $50 gift certificates from businesses from Cedar Flat to Mackenzie Ridge. That some lucky people are going to
So since Cliff came the latest.
I did.
He gets to be the first to pick.
I was having fun at Linton Lake.
Take my number, Cliff.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Mandy's number.
Okay, all right. So it is, I've got to get my other glasses wherever they are. The last four numbers are 408. 408.
You are?
I
Well, you can go to the Mackenzie Station Pub.
Oh my God. Nice. Yeah. All right. Then how about you, Mary?
Sherry.
I want it. Okay, the next one is 403.
You, sir, you can go to Eric Farms.
Nice.
There you go.
Okay.
They have the best signal.
Something done.
Okay, the next one is 399.
Oh. Okay. Congratulations, you're going to Mackenzie Feed and Tackle.
There's more? Oh,
There's 2 more.
wow. One more after this. Okay.
This is good odds.
397.
That's you, she picked her own ticket.
You're also going to Mackenzie Feed and Tackle.
Okay, and last one,
Oh.
our dark sign. I love it when people don't give up on something. It's not good enough. 396, is that you, Mandy?
Well,
Ah,
you're going to Mackenzie General School
I know.
in City and Grill.
Thank you. Yeah, wow, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming and slogging through this. It's really, really important. This is important work. Please tell the people that you collaborate with in other ways about this, because the more we talk about it, the more it will gel, I think. And then our next meeting will perhaps be more robustly attended. One of our, for anyone who's worked on projects like this, longitudinal projects, we spend so much time re-explaining what we're doing. It would be really nice if everyone could catch up with what the concept is, what the mission, what we're trying to accomplish, what our goals are, and so that we can get to the working part.
Yeah.
That's what we really want to do. So, all of you who were here today and did put in the work, we want to see you the next time we gather.
Yeah. And anyone who hasn't seen the full report, if you put your email address on that sheet over there, I can send you a copy of it.
it's so important, I think, to acknowledge that a lot of times businesses in our community say, well, we joined the Chamber of Commerce, we do this, we pay our dues, what do we get out of it? I mean, that's just an honest conversation I've heard many, many times. Here's an opportunity to get something out of it, but you got to put a little bit of effort into it. And it's harder to get the ball rolling in a direction than it is to keep it rolling. And so this is a really big deal, working with Main Street, Oregon Main Street, I should say, RDI, those sort of things. There's money that backs this, there's history that backs this. It's not something that's new and unproven. So we just need more people to be involved, more business to get, if they can't come by themselves, send a proxy, somebody to learn. It's really important to coalesce here. Like you said, over here, let's get a brand going.
Well, and help unify the community, the whole community that serves the school, basically. So.
I have a question. So, for those of us who are designated project leads, do we just wait and hear back, or do we need to be doing stuff in the meantime?
We wouldn't discourage you from starting
Okay,
forward.
okay,
Please do.
all right.
Randy?